So, battered and bruised, you want nothing more to do with love. You could take a gun and shoot that oh so beautiful dove. You are left hollow with nothing more to give. Running away from love is now the way you live. The skies are dark, the feelings of your heart are no longer bark. You've convinced yourself that nothing is wrong. You move on, listening to life's music, but never to its song. You are happy on the outside, craving some care within, but you are too fragile too scared to commit to that sin. You live your life thinking you're fine. You spend your evenings with your friends drinking your wine. Everything is as it is, stationary. You spend endless time on the shore, never boarding that ferry. You wonder why take that risk again, when right now you're free of all emotions, even pain. As time passes, however, you feel something change. You feel a stir of emotions inside. They're a bit familiar and yet they feel strange. You know this all too well. You're in for one hell of a ride. You try your best to avoid that disaster. You dig your feet into the ground and turn the other way. You know all too well if you fall, there are only tears after initial laughter. You start your run away, avoiding all meetings. You even tell yourself and others that it can never happen and this is only fleeting. Yet you are in a race against time. You're already guilty of the crime. Your hands grasp for an invisible rope. You cannot afford to fall into that abyss again. Love is something on which you have given up all hope. And yet you know no matter how much you try, you're going down that lane. Gradually, as time goes on, you find your walls coming down. Your face starts to relax with that disappearing frown. You start ditching your plans every once in a while so that you can spend a little more time with her to see that healing smile. You find yourself inevitably growing extra miles. You're so lost in that emotion, you see gardens on tiles. There's a tingle in your feet. You know this is no easy ride. You will always be on the edge of your seat. But you know all too well that you will either burn or be made in this heat. Eventually things move ahead. You find yourself a renewed enthusiasm to get out of bed. You are a paradox, afraid of falling and yet so bold in your plunge. You soak it up all for the fear, the excitement, the love. You are like a sponge. You know it's about time the walls shattered, and yet you trust yourself that it will be beautiful even if you end up battered. You have an all-new admiration for her to take you from where you were so insipid. You were like a rag, tattered and torn, and she made you feel like the finest fur. Here you stand taking chances in love again, and before her you were so timid. You were there enjoying life in your comfort zone. She came along, dragged you off the cliff, and convinced you to jump. If you won't fly, you'll plunge into the water, and you can swim into the air you were thrown. She was right, you did fly before you were drenched, but she was there soaking with you. It was in that moment you realized that she is a keeper, eternally yours, so what's it even matter if you get a few bumps? Gradually, every moment without her seemed like an eternity. You're restless, unable to wait till dinner to see her covered in beautiful burgundy. You feel the anxiety that what if you wait too long? You know that the risk if it goes all too wrong. You know it all too well. You now have fallen to the bottom and you have fallen into your heart and your heart has begun to swell. As you sit on the dinner table, you decide it's time to move your lips and speak about her fable, for it can be nothing less than magic that she evoked what was evoked in someone so tragic. The walls were replaced by a palace. She drained your heart of all its malice. It then dawned on you that for all the talk that exists on first love, it's the second time it happens, it's the most real, most powerful, and the most beautiful. So you raise your glass to broken hearts being mended. It's like the second love which leads to the beautiful life being presented.